Welcome to Google Weekly.
Welcome, my name is Bjorn Berendt, and this is the Google Weekly Podcast, which is part of the AskBG.net network of EdTech services. Never stop learning. This is episode 16, The Flipped Classroom, recorded February 14th, 2012. Welcome, everybody, this wonderful Valentine's Day. I am looking forward to going home after the show and spending some time with my lovely wife and kids. Before I get into what's new in Google, I want to talk about one of the new things that I've been working on, and that is a personal learning network website for Vermont. That is vted.org. I'm hoping that I have a lot of Vermont listeners, and this is a social network site that I'm trying to get basically a lot of the talent through Vermont, a lot of the people who have public websites or maintain a Twitter account or Google Plus account, a place that they can go and post that information so other people from Vermont can connect. We also have quite a few listservs. We have a couple Nings and a few other social networks that I all wanted to put together into one website so other people, so the rest of Vermont can connect and find other ways to connect. I got vted.org, or actually VTEd is actually a Twitter hashtag that was started by Dan French, who is one of the people I've interviewed back a few episodes ago on learning management systems. He started the Twitter hash VTEd last year, I think, and it's actually taken off, and I've kind of expanded that to the website. There's a Digo account on there. A lot of great information. Please check it out, especially if you're from Vermont. Please add in some information. And the website for that, again, is vted.org. So what's new in Google? Well, the first thing is one that I actually use quite a bit now, and that is the ability to add titles and heading customizations to the style of your document. They've always had the ability to add headings, but those headings have already been predefined what they were going to look like. Now you have the option to set the customizations and the fonts for those different headings and titles that will allow you to use them all throughout your entire document. And the way you do that is you actually create your first heading, you set the font, set the color, set the italicize, size, whatever settings you want, highlight it, then you want to go to where it says normal text and you pull that down, and you'll see you have title, subtitle, heading 1, 2, and 3. And you go to one of those, and then on the right-hand side, you'll see a little arrow. You click the arrow. You can either apply the heading, or you can update the heading to match the selection. So it's very easy to update these customized selections. I am very excited about this tool. Now, there's also another feature, and this is where I use it a lot, and that is in the table of contents. And in the What's Current, I'm actually going to talk about how to create a table of contents. So these headings become very important, not only for formatting, but also in the use of your document. Okay, moving on. Updates to Spreadsheets. They've made a lot of great updates to Spreadsheets, mostly around chart options. They did something called Spark Lines, which allows you to display line charts inside a cell. They've also done more chart options, things such as including a different y-axis on either side of the chart, different formatting axes for the title. You can do other customizations of how the lines and bar charts are displayed. So a lot of great things around charts in Google Spreadsheets. Speaking of spreadsheets, they've also done stuff with their forms. So they've added a share on Google Plus right into their forms. So if you have Google Plus and you open up a form, one of the things you can do is immediately share that within Google Plus. Great little feature. I'm looking forward to Google Plus coming to K-12. That will probably be a very helpful thing. Next thing, they have a Google for Students page. Now, this is a great page just specifically for students. It talks about some programs and scholarships that they have. It talks about their hiring process and some life at Google. I'm sure there's talk about internships somewhere on this, and I'll post a link to this on the show notes. The Google black bar is staying, and they are making improvements to this. And there was some talk a little while ago about taking the black bar and getting rid of it and replacing it with basically something you roll, almost like a start menu, roll over the logo. There was apparently a lot of negative feedback, and I was one of them. I remember talking about this on the show and saying, hey, Google, I'm not too keen on this. There is a new scholarship out for student veterans, and I'm not too sure of the details. I'll post the link website on the show, and it has something to do with their partnership with the Google for Veterans and Families, which is one of the earliest shows I talked about. So if you are a veteran or a student veteran, go ahead and take a look. This might be a great opportunity for some college funding. The last thing I want to talk about is some Google and education community forums. This is probably not new, but I just heard about it thanks to our new Becky Evans, who is the new Google Apps Certified Trainer Manager person. So Becky, if you're listening to the show, hey, thank you very much. This is the Educational Community Forum. So these are forums on the website that is hosted by Google. It's specifically for administrators. There's one for teachers and educators, and then deployment and technical support. I'm going to be on these forums probably a little bit more often now that I know about them, and it's a place that you can post questions and get answers and do some research, and it's directed just for education. So go ahead and check that out. I will post the link to that on the website. And that's going to move me into what's current in Google. And I kind of alluded to this earlier in the show. And I wanted to talk about the table of contents feature within Google. I love this feature. I use it quite a bit, especially with policies and other things that I do with the school. It's usually a long document that needs to be referenced. We have our student handbook that is in a Google Doc, and the entire handbook has a table of contents. And rather than trying to manually create a table of contents, you can use that heading feature to have Google maintain and build one for you. And the way this thing works is you write out your document, and you add in, for each topic, you want to add in either a heading 1, heading 2, or heading 3. Once you are done, you can go scroll up to the top and you click Insert, and you'd insert the table of contents. And I'll show you, there's a little refresh button you can choose, and what it will do is for every single heading 1, it'll make it the topmost topic. If you have a heading 2, it'll make it 1 level down, and heading 3, it'll make it 2 levels down. So using those heading 1, 2, and 3, you can actually create an entire outline of your Google document. And all the links in the table of contents will be built for you up in the top of the page by doing Insert and Table of Contents. You do need to update the table of contents once you make a change. It's not always automatic, or it probably will be if you just leave it alone. But for the most part, I usually just go up there and click Refresh, and it'll update the table of contents when I am ready. So that is a great feature. Check it out, use it. And on to the app exploration part of the website. The first one I want to talk about is the Google Apps Marketplace. And now this is the one that your administrator would add on. And I want to talk about Doodle. This is a website I'm actually using right now. I'm using it to help schedule a master's oral defense through my UVM class that I am taking, or my UVM master's class that I am taking. And this is a really cool tool. What it is you're trying to find meeting times between a group of people. And you go through and the first person goes out and he checks on, well, we can do this date at this time, this date at this time, this date, this time, several different dates, several different options. He sends that out to a group of people. The next person comes on and says, okay, out of those dates, I can do this one, this one, this one, and this one. The third person goes, okay, well, I can do this one, this one, this one, and this one. And by the end of it, you have a quick little chart of options as to how you can get the most amount of people and at what times. So you come together and say, well, it looks like everybody can get on Friday at 3 o'clock. We'll choose that time. So that is Doodle. It is free for most of the basic features. There is some advanced features that I think you can pay for, but it is a great service. I've used this even before it was part of the Google App Marketplace. I needed to use it recently, and I said, hopefully it's part of it, And it was. And so they've built it in there. It is a single sign-on with Google Apps. Works out greatly. I encourage you to use this. It is a very, very helpful tool. Even now that it's part of the Google Apps Marketplace, it was even looking at my current Google Calendar and pulling information in there. So it not only helped me say for the other people, it helped me choose the times that were appropriate for myself. So that is Doodle. And that's for easy scheduling in the Google Apps Marketplace. The next one I was looking for, Chrome Web Store. This is something in Google Chrome. This just looks fun. It's a hieroglyphic typewriter. I'm not just sure what the educational use of this is, but it looks really, really fun and really cool. So if you're just looking to type in hieroglyphics, you can use this typewriter, and it will do the Egyptian hieroglyphics on the page. Kind of cool. The last thing I want to talk about is the Android app of the week. And this is actually a pretty big, significant app. This is Chrome for Android. It is out. It is available. It is only available for ICS phones or Ice Cream Sandwich or Android 4 phones. There are not too many out there. I think we've talked about my phone, and I actually have one, so I get to use this. It's Chrome. It works out well. Do I think it's any better than some of the other ones? Not yet. But I'm really hoping this is the first step into being able to get the full Google Apps product working effectively on an Android tablet. I don't have an Android tablet yet. I'm still kind of working on it. But I'm hoping that this is like one of the first steps to being able to get the full Google Apps experience on an Android tablet. And that's going to really bring things together. I'm looking forward to this change. And that's going to finish up the app exploration part of the website, part of the podcast. And I'm moving on to the Universal Design for Learning. Remember that I am taking a Universal Design for Learning class through my master's degree. And each week I'm supposed to do a reflection. And this is this week's reflection. I chose to do it on the podcast. And this is the inspiration for the title this week, and it's called Flipped Classroom. It is a great concept. I'll post a YouTube video of another teacher talking about how she flipped her classroom. But what it basically is traditionally teachers spend their in-class time lecturing to students. They spend their time showing students how to do something. And the homework is often students applying what they learned. The idea of a flipped classroom says, well, why don't students get the lecture part of it at home and then come to class and do the work? And this is great with UDL in that the teacher can then see the thought process of the students. They can see how some students, maybe they got this one section, other students maybe got another part of the section, and they can work with the students individually to help fill in the gaps. So it's a great universal design concept. I love using it. Now, one of the concerns that a fellow student put out there is, well, not all my students have internet access. And I live in Vermont, so this is a very valid thing. There are parts of Vermont that don't even have fast internet access. So, yeah, not having internet is very valid for a teacher to say, this is a concern. But this got me thinking about it, and it made me realize that the flipped classroom is less about how you present the information. It's less about the videos and stuff like that you make the students do, and more about how you spend the time in the classroom. I teach a graphics editing class at the college level, and my classroom is flipped. It's always been flipped before I understood what flipped classroom was. And that's because I had student learners who were very, very basic and very, very advanced. And I had to teach them together, and I had to bring all of them forward at their own level. My goal when I teach is not to bring them all to the same place, but all moving forward at the same pace. So what I do is I will actually post YouTube links to the concept that I want students to learn that day. For example, if it's just how to select and how to use the selection tool. And I'll have a project that will require them to use the tool in that way. And I will start off the class and I'll go right into the project. And the students who are experts are the ones that I'll start helping out first. I'll go around helping them out, getting them to take their knowledge and move it forward. And then the students who need a little bit more help and kind of understanding the concept will actually sit back and watch all the YouTube videos I've put out in class. So I can quickly get an idea of who's the students who are getting it, who the students are not getting it. And it changes. Some students don't need the video every week, and some students need the video every week, and some students will get a concept and just jump right into it. Other students will watch the video. So it really creates a dynamic, and I get to know my students' skills very, very well. It also allows me to bring my students teach them at a pace so they can grow. A very basic student may be able to hit where an advanced student started off with, but the advanced student can grow and learn about other things. So I love the idea of a flipped classroom, and it doesn't have to be that you present the information at home. It's just how you spend your classroom time. And I think that's going to finish up the show. So thank you for listening to the Google Weekly podcast with your host, Bjorn Berendt. You can follow the podcast and contribute by going to www.google-weekly.net. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, which is where I spend most of my time. I encourage you to get the conversation going around the show by posting your comments to the website or using the hashtag #GWPodcast within your social network. Again, thank you for listening and never stop learning.
This is Torrance, and thank you for listening.